right, we are going to prep some smoothies. This is something that you may choose to do on Sunday night to save yourself time and energy in the weekday mornings. So what I'm going to put in my smoothies are going to be 1 ripe banana each. If the bananas are quite small, you may want to do 1.5. I'm going to add 1/2 cup of frozen berries. You can choose any fruit. Another option I really like is frozen mango chunks, which you can also buy in bags like these in the freezer section of the grocery store. There's also usually frozen peach, frozen mixed berries, and a handful of dark leafy greens. I'm going to be using spinach. You may choose to use kale or even a big box of salad, spring salad mix. You can just grab a handful of that and put that in each container. These are takeout containers that I have washed and I've reused them many times. They make great little meal prep containers. Alternatively, you can choose to use freezer bags and you can reuse these many times as well. When you're done using it once, just rinse it out immediately so that the fruit doesn't stick to the bags. It makes it a little bit harder to wash later on if you wait. And you want to make sure that the bananas are nice and ripe. This will make the smoothies very sweet. And something that I notice with a lot of the ladies that I coach is they try to limit fruit. And I know that this is a common belief that if you have fruit in abundance that it will somehow halt your weight loss because of the sugar in the fruit. But you've got to remember, fruit is full of fiber as well and water, both of which are free from calories completely. So I'm just putting 1 full banana in each of these containers. I really encourage you to up your fruit intake and don't be afraid of consuming whole natural fruits and fruits in smoothie because they still have the fiber. Juices I do not recommend because the fiber has been removed. But when it comes to whole fruit, do not feel that you need to stick with these tiny little quantities because that's simply not going to fill you up. And when you're not full at meal times, when you're still hungry and you're eating under that hunger drive, that is when the cravings a couple hours later kick in for those higher calorie density junk foods and packaged and processed foods. So because this diet is lower in calories per pound of food that you're going to be eating, you will likely be eating a higher volume of food than you may have in the past. So I'm just doing a handful in each. And I actually have a few of these already made up in my freezer, so I'm only doing 3, but you can do as many as you can fit in your freezer, and maybe 7. You want to have 1 for every day of the week ready to go. Another option is you can actually shred up a cabbage and put a handful of cabbage in each one of these instead of or in addition to the greens. Okay. And I'm doing 1/2 cup of blueberries in each. Beautiful. So we're just going to put the lid on and pop those in the freezer. And then in the morning, you just open one up, put everything into the blender. Depending on how thick of a consistency you like your smoothie, add that amount of water in. I usually do 10 ounces and a splash of plant milk, either almond, coconut, or soy milk. You can add stevia if you want to sweeten it a bit more, and I personally like to add lots of cinnamon, which you may have seen me do. I go a little cinnamon crazy because I just love it. So keep it as simple as you need to. If you want to make all of them the exact same, go ahead and do that. If you're someone who craves more variety, maybe you want to have mango on one day and pineapple on another day and frozen papaya on another day, go ahead and mix it up and get creative. But I always say the simpler you make things, the more likely you are to stick with it because it's just easier to prepare, and I'm all about ease. Smoothies are also a really good option if you are on the go. Say you're going out for 2 or 3 hours. You can always blend up a smoothie, take it with you. If you're not hungry at the moment, at least you have something on you that you can drink, and it's going to fill you up a little bit until it's time for your next meal. Also, I know one concern with eating a whole food plant-based diet is price and budgeting for groceries. You know, certain foods can be expensive, and if you are trying to stick within a certain budget, then I say to not be afraid of frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. They are still very nutritious, and I find that the price per ounce or the price per pound of food when frozen tends to be much better value most of the time. Of course, sometimes there'll be blueberries on sale where you can get a punnet of them for like 97 cents. Then by all means, you can have some fresh blueberries, and that's often what I do. But because I am, you know, using these daily, I also put them in my oatmeal. I like to get the big bags from the freezer section at either Walmart or Winco here in Arizona. What we're going to be making is a chickpea and spinach dip. I'm a big fan of this, and I really recommend it with no oil fries, which I've made many times in my YouTube videos. And today I'm actually going to slice potatoes into almost little crackers, or almost like they're little slices of bread, and I'm going to put the dip on top. But you can choose to make them into fries and do it differently every time. Another option is you can cut up some raw veggies, some carrots, celery, bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, and have those ready in your fridge as a really easy snack to take with you to work or wherever you happen to be going. So normally I would just use 1 can of chickpeas, but because I'm prepping a few containers worth of this dip, I'm going to be using 2, and I'm going to rinse these out really well. All right, so I've rinsed the 2 cans of chickpeas well and put them in the blender here. And you're just gonna take a big handful of dark leafy greens. I've chosen spinach. And now I'm gonna add some spices. So I'm gonna add in a sprinkle of crushed red pepper, chili flakes, dill, and you can just add your favorite spices in. Maybe you want to do some garlic powder, some onion powder, some smoked paprika. And because this is such a large amount of dip that I'm making, I'm going to be adding in 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. And 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I'm also going to be adding in a bit of sea salt, which is optional. All right, and I'm adding in 6 ounces of water. And there we go. I think 6 ounces of water was the perfect amount. It's not too liquidy and it's not too thick either. It'll make a nice spread or a nice dip. These glass containers hold 2 cups, and this little one here holds 1 cup. All right, so I poured some of the dip into each of these containers. I wasn't too precise about it. I just put some in each, and I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of dill on top, and that's it. You can make them just like I have, or you can get creative and add your own favorite beans and your own favorite spices and seasonings. Some examples that you could use are dark red kidney beans, you could use black beans, you could use lentils, you could use cannellini beans, and you can add some liquid smoke if you like a hickory type of a flavor. And if you really like spice, you could add some more spices to these as well. All right, so I've washed these 4 potatoes and I'm leaving the skin on, and I've just set my oven to preheat at 450 Fahrenheit. And I am slicing the potatoes into about 1/2 centimeter thick pieces. They're gonna look like thick crackers. And I'm gonna lay them out on the silicone baking sheet. I'll have to use two because these won't all fit on one. I'm gonna make extra so Alex can have some too. Now you can use any potatoes. You can do this with sweet potatoes, russet potatoes. These are Yukon Gold potatoes. And again, another option that you have is you can slice these into fries and dip the fries into our dip that we made. And you want to keep them relatively similar in size just so that they bake at the same rate. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven and set my timer for 25 minutes, and then I'll take a look and see how they are, and they may need a bit more time. All right, so 25 minutes was more than enough time. They are nice and crispy. If you don't want them quite as crispy as this, then of course you can just maybe leave them in for 20 minutes or just check on them after 10 or 15 minutes. But I actually think these are gonna be quite yummy like this. Now I've got one of my little containers of dip here. I'm actually gonna eat this now. Some options are you can just actually dip them and eat it like this. Really good. Or what you can do is lay the potato crackers out on a plate and get a spoon or a knife and spread a little bit of the dip onto each of the slices of potato. All right, this is a very, very simple lunch. We've got some leftover rice here. We've got some broccoli that was frozen and I cooked it with a splash of water on the stove top. And I rinsed a can of chickpeas. That's 1/2 of a cup. And another 1/2 a cup. And I'm actually just gonna divide the can of chickpeas into two. So that's about, I guess, 3/4 of a cup in each of these dishes. This is a very, very simple lunch. If you want to get more exciting with it, you can add some corn, you can add some chopped up onion, you can get as creative as you want to, but if you want to keep it simple, there is your base and season it how you like. I recommend seasoning it when you're ready to eat it. I'm going to save this one for tomorrow's lunch, and I'm gonna eat this one now. So I'm going to add in some lemon juice. Splash of lemon juice and a splash of soy sauce. And I feel like having a bit of spice, so I'm going to add some cayenne pepper. And voila, delicious. I've already warmed up these ingredients, so I'm just going to eat it. Otherwise, you can put it in the microwave for 2 to 3 minutes, and that should warm it up enough for you to enjoy. And it is really important that I continue to reiterate that you by no means need to limit your portions. One of the reasons I recommend making extra, whether it's you're making potatoes or you're making vegetables or you're making rice or barley or millet, make a little bit more than you think you're going to eat at that meal, just in case you happen to be hungry an hour later, or maybe you eat this lunch and you're thinking, you know what, I'm still a little hungry, I could probably have a little bit more. Then by all means, continue to eat that meal until you're comfortably full. Or if you want to snack on some fruit, go ahead and have some fruit. Because the food is so low in calories per bite, it is very important that you eat until you are comfortably full. Otherwise, if you are continuously under eating, this will lead to cravings for high calorie density packaged and processed junk foods. And I just don't want you to have to deal with that. I want you to feel like you are satisfied at meal times. So please eat, eat, eat until you are comfortably full. Another thing that you can prep that will help you save time and energy in the week is barley. Now, all of this here is 3 dry cups of barley that I prepped a couple of days ago. Actually, I ate some of it, so this is a little bit less than 3 dry cups cooked. And so barley really absorbs a lot of water and expands, and it is a fantastic filling wet starch. Something that you can use this in is soups. It's very filling and hearty in soups. I actually provided a recipe for a potato, broccoli, barley, and lentil soup as part of the meal plan for this 30-day low calorie density challenge. So be sure to check that out at lowcaloriedensity.com if you want to try out that recipe. And a few people have messaged me saying that, they don't digest oatmeal well, or they're just not a fan of oatmeal because of the mushier texture. You may enjoy making barley and preparing it as though it were oatmeal. So adding cinnamon and some stevia to sweeten it, some berries, a sliced banana. And I tried this the other day and I actually really enjoyed it. Also, any type of rice bowl that you might be making, you can use barley instead. So you can have barley with some black beans or kidney beans or chickpeas, a little splash of soy sauce and or lemon juice, some of your favorite spices like garlic powder, onion powder, and some veggies on the side. Some broccoli, some peas, corn, peppers, whatever you like. Remember, one of my big recommendations is to get creative with these whole plant food, low calorie density ingredients and come up with meals that you really enjoy and that are easy for you to repeat. All right, now I'm going to wash some berries and grapes and make some little fruit salad cups. Now, I actually don't often buy fresh fruit other than bananas and apples. Because I have fruit daily in my oatmeal and my smoothies, I prefer to buy the large bag of frozen berries, frozen mango chunks, frozen pineapple chunks. It's just such a better value. However, these strawberries were 99 cents, so I bought 4 packs, and the grapes were 68 cents a pound. So I had to grab them for that, and I am going to make some little fruit salads. Someone is on his best behavior, just hoping he gets a piece of banana. Oh, he got it. Was that nice? All right, now I'm going to throw in a generous splash of lemon juice. Now, if you haven't already bought a big bottle of lemon or lime juice, I highly recommend that you do so. It's just such a great way to add flavor to so many different dishes. And if you're like me and you have a hard time making yourself drink enough water each day, it can be a really good way to kind of make water a little bit more interesting. Now, I really don't want you guys hyper focusing on quantities. Like, how many bananas did you use and how many strawberries and how many oranges? Don't worry about that. Honestly, fruit is so low in calories per pound. We really want to get away from that mindset of measuring portions out and serving sizes. When in doubt, pour an extra large scoop, and if for some reason you get full before you finish it, then you can just put the lid back on and put it back in the fridge and eat it later. And when it's time to eat this, something I also like to do is sprinkle some cinnamon on top. Some other great things to meal prep on Sunday night so that you have food for the week are soups and chili dishes. And I recommend always including a wet starch like a potato, barley, or rice, and some form of bean, whether it is chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, lentils, and also vegetables. I will put some recipes for you in the description box of this video, and you can feel free to try those out. Let me know in the comment section down below, which meal do you have the biggest challenge with? Maybe you have a hard time making breakfasts that are filling, or lunches that are really quick, or dinners that are enjoyable and don't take too much time to prepare. Let me know and I will try to make some videos that will help you out with those meals. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.